Hey, Dr. Spivak, it's me, Mike Zero, about to record video so that I can discuss the Kalam cosmological argument and its impact on my walk from atheism to theism. Now, I tried to think to myself, what would be a good background for me to create this video? And I said, what other background better than the Harvard Club of New York City? So I'm going to attempt to do a recording of the Harvard Club of New York City without anyone noticing while I talk about the Kalam cosmological argument. Wish me luck. I'm going to try to make some good video for you.
Now, in case the silly dancing inside of the Harvard Club doesn't make it clear, I'm not really doing this with anyone's permission. So any use of the Harvard Club, Harvard University, or any Harvard logos does not mean that they support any of my views in this video. I will say this, Professor, I went through a lot of trouble to create this video, so I truly hope you enjoy it. Before discussing the Kalam cosmological argument, let me tell you a little bit about my walk from atheism to theism. Basically, I was a Bible-carrying atheist. I was the kind of guy who thought that he was as smart as the people in the paintings in Harvard Hall, that I would be able to use your Bible and your Quran to prove to you that there was no God. Not to say that anyone in these paintings would have taken such a position, but I thought I was as smart as they were. It was the Kalam cosmological argument that provided me with the scientific and philosophical information that I needed to reach the ultimate conclusion that our universe requires a cause, and that cause is God. Now, the Kalam cosmological argument focuses primarily on the temporal nature of the universe. There had to have been a beginning to all of the intricacy and fine detail that we see in this universe. Look at the grill room in the Harvard Club, for example. It didn't always exist. There was a beginning to it, and hence a cause for that beginning. And just like social dancers here at the Harvard Club, the Kalam cosmological argument has its own dance steps. Dance step number 1, or premise number 1. Everything that has a beginning of its existence has a cause for its existence. Dance step number 2. The universe has a beginning of its existence. Therefore, dance step number 3. The universe has a cause for its existence, and the final step in this ballad, if the universe has a cause for its existence, then that cause must be God.
Now this perhaps is the room of greatest interest to me here at the Harvard Club, which is the mahogany room. The reason why is because of that seal right there. Most of us are used to seeing the Harvard seal that just says Veritas, which means truth. But the original seal, which I'll zoom into later, actually had Christo e Ecclesia around it, but was unfortunately removed as the school became more secularized. So it used to mean Christ and church. Now, how does that relate to our class of Islamic studies? For Muslims, the idea of studying is something of great importance to all Muslims who really seek to practice their faith. So what are some of the sources of Islamic law that we can think about? Well, first there was the Quran. Then there's, of course, the Sunnah, which was anything that the Prophet said, did, or allowed in his presence. There were also the Amal, which was the narration or the actions of learned people who followed the Prophet directly. There was also the Ijma, which was the consensus of what the companions of the Prophet did. The Medinan scholars, the Imams, and Muslims by majority as well. There were the Qiyas, which were analogies, meaning that if we took, for example, wine, and if we made the conclusion that wine was bad because it was intoxicating, well, then anything that intoxicates, therefore, is bad. There's the Ijtihad and the Madhab, which are first of all, who can derive Sharia ruling from what primary sources, meaning the ones that we just discussed, but also the schools themselves that allow someone to make these types of decisions as to what is haram and what is not. By the way, for extra credit, I waited a whole 5 hours for this room to empty out just so that I could record this segment.
But let's take a step back and return to our Kalam cosmological argument. So far, all the Kalam cosmological argument has done is demonstrate that there is a need for something that created the universe. But does that something necessarily have to be God? There are several possibilities outside of God that we can consider. Number one, maybe the universe always existed. However, science has already proven to us through Big Bang cosmology that that is not in fact the case. A second example might be that of quantum physics and the multiverse, suggesting that there is an infinite number of universes. However, the problem here is the problem of infinite regress, which is simply not possible.
Now here's an interesting side note about the Harvard Club. According to this little doohickey over here, it says that the Harvard Club was apparently opened in 1894 and had 2 editions, one in 1905 and one in 1915. Very little has changed over the years except for the plunge, which was an actual pool that used to be here in the Harvard Club but was covered during World War II to create a dormitory for servicemen. How about them apples?
Well, here unfortunately is the end of our journey in the Harvard Club. I truly hope you had a good time. There's really only one good way to end this conversation of the Kalam cosmological argument, and that is with dance.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
What are you still doing here? The club is closed. Go home. The cleaning people are here. I gotta study.
Oppan Gangnam Style.